with more opportunity than you can imagine. And all people need to do is to maximize their use of the time that has been given to them.
Today we have Ron Galloway, business researcher, and he got made fun of on the Jon Stewart's Daily Show. Welcome, Ron.
Hello, how are you?
Yeah, excellent. Thank you.
Thank you
Thanks
for having
for
me
being on.
on in this time of major weirdness if you're a business person when the entire world is completely changing. If it's what's been on my mind lately is the fact that you look, people are paying attention to, the epidemic or the pandemic or people paying attention to politics. But what's going on right now, I think, is one of the biggest transformations in business that
Mm.
we've ever seen. And what fascinates me lately is how to react to that and what to do with that. I'm sorry I didn't even let you get your first question in.
No, that's good. That's good. Ron, hit us with it. How do you think the world's changed?
Well, it's interesting. My son is at University of Georgia, and it's his first year, and he's trying to decide what to major in, and I'm like, major in everything, because what's important, the days of like majoring in accounting and going and being an accountant for 35 years and then retiring, that's all gone. What you need to have is a skill stack where you know some accounting, you know some Spanish, you know how to program a little bit, you need some HTML, you know how to do what you're doing, you know how to talk in public, because I believe that what's going to happen is that people aren't going to have a job. I think in the future, people are going to have 3 or 4 businesses of their own. I'll give you an example. One of my friends I was talking to today, her son is 17, and she's like, "Oh yeah, he only goes to school 2 days a week." And I was like, "Why?" She's like, "He's got a business. He started an app, and he's got some venture capitalists flying in, and they're going to fund him with over $1 million pretty soon. And his programmers in India. I mean, his employees are all over the world. This is a 17-year-old kid who's just slagging off high school because he's starting a business, and that's how I think people are thinking now. I think what remote did, being remote, broke the umbilical cord in people's minds of the concept that they had to go into an office and work there. We don't have to go into an office. And once Elon Musk gets those satellites up there for Starlink, I mean, you can be in the most remote part of Baja California and be getting half a gig internet going on and do your business from there. So everything's changing, the way information is being transmitted, the way businesses are formed. It's no big deal now. If you wanted to, let's say, form a drop shipping business, you can have a drop shipping business completely done. Website, get your name, go to irs.gov, Internal Revenue Service.gov, get your number. You can have a whole business going on in an hour or an hour and a half that is an international business. That didn't used to happen. And now that people can see it's happening. And what's interesting is, in a way, it's a return. I did a movie about Walmart, the world's biggest corporation. And at that time, and everybody was complaining about Walmart wiping out mom and pop stores. Well, mom and pop stores are returning, but they're returning in the form of people my age. I'm nearly 60. People 30, that 17-year-old I was talking about, people forming their own multiple businesses and having the framework out there to be able to do it. I mean, you've got Stripe for your payments, Shopify, I guess, if you're whoever, for your shop. All the things, all the Lego parts you need to put together your business are there, and it's easy to have. As you see, you've got an international audience. It's easier to grow a business now than it ever has been. I mean, if you want to, as an experiment, I tried to see if I could write and distribute a book within 24 hours one time. I did it. It's just like all these things that were never, 15 years ago, the gatekeepers in publishing would never have allowed that. I mean, you just never would have gotten that done. The guy that wrote The Martian, he, which became a movie, he had a bunch of blog posts that he was writing about a guy stuck on Mars. And his friends were like, dude, put that in a book because we're tired of like refreshing the page. So he put it in a Kindle book, put it up on Amazon. Movie rights got bought. Movie gets made, creating hundreds, probably thousands of jobs. And from this guy's head and his computer, essentially $1 billion business was created. That was never possible before. And the tools that we have now, even if you already own a business, the tools you have to expand a business now are mind boggling. I off and on make documentaries, and and it's possible now to do things with documentaries that you never could do before in terms of distributing them or filming them, or production values with drones or something like that. If I think if people, what here's what frustrates me. I want people to get their faces, when you walk through an airport now, all you see is people's faces in the phone. And I'm like, that's fine if it's work. But if you're just like skimming Instagram all day, stop that. Just cut out that noise and start a business, because there has never been a greater time in the history of the world to start a business than right now. And I don't care what country you're in. I have a friend in Venezuela with a thriving business. I have a friend in Spain, she's right up there, who has a thriving online business in the middle of a little tiny town in Spain where, in the past, Lord knows what, I mean, I'm not sure, maybe we were a babysitter. I don't know. But now she has a worldwide business. So even if you've got a business that's growing, I think the key thing is to keep your mind open to all the new things that are coming out there that you can help to grow even an already existing business, such as, everybody talks about Bitcoin, Bitcoin, Bitcoin. And actually, I've been giving speeches on it for 10 years. But the important part of Bitcoin is the blockchain, and what people don't, or well, no, people are starting to realize it, that real estate titles and contractual documents are going to all be held on the blockchain. So it's the best thing somebody can do right now in a business, if they want to learn something quick, is learn about the blockchain and how their business is going to be affected by it. You can right now form an LLC in the state of Wyoming that it's called a DAO, a decentralized autonomous organization. You can form a corporation that exists only on the blockchain. It's independent of physical space. And that's why you saw the mayor of Miami tweeting out and actually going to San Francisco, luring people, business people from San Francisco over to Miami, which I believe Miami, people say it's Austin, but no, I believe Miami is going to be the most thriving business center almost in the world. It's going to certainly displace New York. New York is done. London may be the money center, but in terms of a business center, I think it's going to be Miami. They're that forward thinking, but we're moving into a time where your business doesn't need to have a physical space. And people that have maybe closed down businesses during the last 2 years, I just implore them to look at the opportunities that are out there in creating things that we couldn't even think about 2 years ago. It frustrates me. It excites me. It frustrates me. It excites me because, oh my Lord, there's all this opportunity. It frustrates me because I'm 60, right? So it's like,
So,
eh,
so then, Ron, what do you think this means from like a business growth perspective, like for say like a medium business? What do you think all of this means from that for them?
what it means for them is, in the past, what they thought was a business is not going to be a business going forward. The business going forward is going to be a business where uh, it's not going to be conducted solely in dollars. Businesses are going to be conducted in multiple currencies, and I'm not saying necessarily Bitcoin. It might be other things, but things are going to be, people need to prepare for a world in which intellectual property and physical property are going to be tokenized, and those tokens are going to, exist on the blockchain. So people need to examine that. Forget Bitcoin. You kind of can't forget Ethereum because that's central to the concept. But forget, blockchain going up, I mean, Bitcoin going up to $1 zillion, and look at the blockchain, which is going to be sort of the final arbiter of business transactions globally. And it could be, if you're, you could, let's say you're buying something from somebody in France, they may want to get paid in corn. And you'll immediately be able to do that because there'll be exchanges where the way you used to get paid is not the way you will get paid. I tell you who is very forward thinking in this was ABBA. ABBA used to get paid back in the day in the 70s. ABBA was paid in oil. ABBA didn't want to get paid in Swedish currency because they didn't like the exchange rate of the Swedish currency. So they got paid in physical oil, barrels of oil. ABBA did. And I think people need to move their brains kind of wider to think, because you think, oh, that can't happen. Yeah, it can. It's sort of an aside on the Black Swan, which is a fantastic book. But if you told people, 2 years ago it would be normal for kids to stay home all day and learn from home, they would have called you insane. All these things you think can't happen in business can and are going to. So the framework for somebody who's already got a business and is looking to move ahead, what they need to do is try and learn and understand the tools that everyone else is going to be using. You don't need to be a startup, some kind of weird startup, but understand that, let's say if you're doing real estate transactions, the title for the house you're buying will more than likely exist on the blockchain. And in fact, there's a city in Florida that's already doing this. So they need to make themselves, existing business people need to make themselves cognizant of what's coming down the pipe, and then put thought into how they can apply those things to their businesses. I think, also as an aside, what people need to be thinking about is inflation is most assuredly here to stay. And so, and we're going to probably have supply chain hiccups for a while, but I think people need to be cognizant of that too. Inflation as a major force is here, and interest rates are going to stay down for a while. Interest rates are as low as they've been in 4,000 years. Going back to Mesopotamian times, interest rates have never been this low. And let's say, just if you throw a number, because interest rates are, let's say, 1%. Well, if you throw a number of negative, or you have an inflation number of 10%, that means the real interest rate is negative 9%. So if you're thinking about growing through borrowing money, now is the greatest time in the history of the world to borrow money to expand your business, because you're getting paid to do it. In Sweden, when you take out a mortgage on a house, the interest rate is negative. The bank pays you interest. That's happening right now. It sounds completely insane, but it's happening. So, what I would tell people is just to be cognizant that the world is changing rapidly. I mean, it seems to be, when I do public speaking, I ask people, I'm like, does it seem as though the world is kind of speeding up? And everybody's like, yeah, it kind of does. The world is speeding up, and people just need to pay attention and do some lateral thinking on how these tools that are going to be fundamental, like blockchain and the fact of inflation, are going to affect their business.
Yeah, I love that, Ron. That's been fantastic, and you're right. It is eye opening. Things are moving at a a pace that we've just never seen before. And also, by the way, guys, that there isn't anything in here that's financial advice. So that's just our
Oh
legal
yeah, nobody
disclaimer.
wants financial advice from me.
Yeah.
I'm the worst person for that.
I was going to say, despite
No.
having a wildly successful speaking career and all sorts of things, but yeah, look, Ron, that's been amazing. Thank you. That there is
Yeah,
some
my
really
pleasure.
key value in there. Thank you so much for coming on the show. We really appreciate it.
Okay, and people can find me at mythros.com if they
Oh,
want to hear a
great.
little bit more.
Yeah, please. Look, if yeah, if could you just spell that out for us?
mythros.com,
Great.
Mythros. And
And
and go ahead.
yeah, I was going to say, do you want to just give a quick 30 seconds on what you
Yeah,
do
the
and what
quick
that is?
30. Well, yeah, I don't want to pimp out me so much as I want to pimp out Gandalf. Gandalf in Lord of the Rings said, uh, "It's all you have to decide in life is what to do with the time that's given to you. We're living in a unbelievably unique time, and with more opportunity than you can imagine. And all people need to do is to maximize their use of the time that has been given to them."
Mm. So yeah, please, guys, just stop for a second, put the phone down, stay off social media for 5 minutes, and actually think and contemplate, what you're spending your time on. That is great advice. Thank you, Ron.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ron, yeah, thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show.
Yes, sir. I enjoyed it very much. I hope to see you again.
Likewise, speak to you soon.
Yes, sir.